Good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are at in our country today. This is Santa Claus wishing you all a very Merry Christmas Eve. This is the day before Christmas Eve. So it's getting close, kids. Hope you're all on the good list. There's not too many kids left on the naughty list, so probably, I would feel pretty confident saying that you are on the good list. And you want to tell them who you are?
I'm Mrs. Claus. How's everyone today? Hope you're ready to have some sweet treats that we're going to leave behind.
Am I Elf?
I'm Candy Cane. Helping out today?
Candy Cane Sparkle. Elf. But Candy Cane for sure. Okay. First of all, I want to tell all of you kids not to worry. Yes, COVID-19 has made things a little bit tough for us this year. But pixies and fairies and gnomes and all the other small creatures of the magic world came up to the North Pole and helped us make our workshop a lot bigger so we could have enough space between our elves to work safely. And so Christmas is on time. Don't worry about that. And if you're worried about me coming to your house and dropping off presents, if your mommy and daddy are worried about that, you can tell them that they can contact me and we will have the presents delivered, okay? We'll send them by EPE. That's Elf Package Express, and they'll get there in time. We just need to know before midnight tonight, okay? Because if it becomes Christmas Eve, it's too late to change how we can get the presents to you. If you'd want me to come to your house, you don't have to do anything. I'll be there, all right? So, first of all, we were talking about the naughty nice list. I do want to go over kids that are on the naughty list, okay? So oh, Brian, don't kick your little brother, okay? That put you right on the naughty list, all right? Barbara, give your cookies back to your sister, or give your sister's cookies back to her. You got your own bag of cookies. She got a bag of cookies. She gets her cookies back, okay? When you give her cookies back, you'll switch back over onto the nice list. Oh, Clyde. You can't just leave a mess in your bedroom. When your mommy and daddy tell you to pick your stuff up and put it away. So, after we're done talking today, run upstairs, clean your room, and you get back on the nice list, okay? Oh, wow. This is kind of sad. Melissa, you got to tell the truth, sweetheart, okay? Your mommy and daddy have told you about lying. You have to tell the truth, okay? So just sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're afraid to tell the truth because you think you might get in trouble. But tell the truth. It's better to tell the truth than it is to lie. Okay? Oh. William, quit touching your elves on the shelf. Your elf on the shelf. When you touch your elf, he can't move. Okay? It takes away his magic, so you gotta just leave that little elf alone. Okay, William? Now, if you can keep from touching him until you go to bed tonight, bonk, back on the nice list you go, okay? All right, that's all for now. Oh, wait a second. Marcia, that was a very nice thing you did for your mom yesterday. So you get a gold star with crossed candy canes after your name on the nice list. That will tell everybody that you were extra special good, okay? All right. Now, I want to ask you kids, how many of you have met me in person? How many have had a chance to sit down and actually talk to me without having to go on the internet? Because I'm always interested to see how many of my true believers are out there watching that have talked to me, and now you can watch me, okay? And where we talked with one another. Okay, so you could say like, we talked at a mall, or we talked at a firehouse, or we talked at a parade where the parade stopped, or something like that, okay? So just let me know when we talked together and where it was. You don't have to tell me your house address or anything. I don't need to know that. Just your name and where we talked, okay? We got any questions from the kids yet?
No questions, but quite a few viewers.
Okay.
We have Maria
Hi, Maria.
and Sarah,
Sarah.
Debbie,
Debbie.
Louis,
Louis.
Nancy,
Nancy.
Martha,
Martha.
Chance,
Chance. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of you out there.
and Chance said he's on the good list.
I know you're
I
on the good
believe
list,
that.
Chance.
Yeah. We got positive reports back from Chance's elves.
Catherine
Catherine.
and Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
And then I got a letter today,
Okay.
Yes.
Elf Mail,
Oh,
from Bob and Sally Elf to let you know that Vincent and Steve have been very good this Christmas season, and their new sister Dolly has been good as well.
Oh, that's
okay.
amazing.
well, you know, it's always nice to get good reports via elf mail. And they're coming in quite regularly now. I'm very pleased at how many of you kids have been good this year. I mean, usually we have a lot of kids on the list, but what was it? Monday we started out with 850,
Yes.
and I think the list is down to like 300 now. So,
Wow.
you know, and millions of kids on the nice list. So you guys are doing a good job. Okay?
And it's not all that hard to find the little spark of goodness in your hearts to make it over to the good side.
Right.
We also have Emily, which is 5, and Christian, who's 9, Juan, that is 6, that have joined us, and Jason and Kaylee and Yvette.
Whoa.
Whoa.
We're getting lots of you out there.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you all. How many of you can go, ho, 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 ho? Have any of you ever tried practicing ho, ho, ho? That makes me feel good because it makes my tummy jiggle like a bowl full of jelly.
And I wish we could hear you guys practicing.
Oh, you know what I want to share? Tomorrow, on Christmas Eve, at 6 o'clock at night, I would like you to try something, because we're trying to get some extra joy and happiness out there this season, because it's been a tough year. So at 6 o'clock, if you could go out your front door with your mommy and daddy or somebody to be with you and ring a bell. Now they can be Jingle Bells or a cowbell or any kind of bell.
Dinner bell.
Just ring a bell, and after you've rung that bell for not too long, you don't have to do it for a long time, sing a Christmas song like Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells.
It's one of his favorites.
Yeah, I don't really sing well. I mean,
Or if it's snowing, you could sing Let It Snow.
oh yeah.
Or you could sing Joy to the World. Or if it's really
Or
quiet, Silent
Rudolph
Night.
the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it close. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Okay, do you know the rest of that song? What happens next? Okay? And if somebody can tell me that, I'm going to tell you how Rudolph and I met for the first time, okay? Because he hasn't always been one of my reindeer, okay? He wasn't even up at the North Pole. But what happens next in the song? Okay, after all the reindeer made fun of him and told him he couldn't play games. And we'll wait for you to answer that, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. And I want to ask you something. The little girl asked me yesterday. Does it always have to be milk, or can it be something else that you put out for me to drink? I like milk. I like juices. I like chocolate milk. I like cocoa. But every once in a while, a cup of coffee would be nice too.
Or tea.
Or tea, yeah. I like tea. Yep. But just about anything. But don't worry, because I can't think of anything that you kids would put out for me that I wouldn't just love. Okay? So whatever you would like to share, you can share that. Even if it's a glass of water, because sometimes I just am thirsty. Okay? So, yeah. I remember a little girl last year gave me a canteen, and it was something that I carried with me, and then I took it up to the North Pole, and the Easter Bunny came, and he saw the canteen, and he liked the canteen a lot, so he took it down to where he was dyeing Christmas eggs, or Easter eggs. Christmas is a big day for me. He was dyeing Easter eggs, and the Tooth Fairy came. And he says, I know a little girl who gave that canteen to Santa Claus. And the Easter Bunny said, well, yeah, I got it from Santa Claus. So the Tooth Fairy said, maybe I should take the canteen back to the little girl. So they got in touch with me, and I sent a candy cane, which upset the Tooth Fairy a little bit because she'd have to brush her teeth after eating it. And the Easter Bunny put an egg together, and the Tooth Fairy put that underneath her pillow the night that she lost her next tooth. And in the morning, she woke up going, what's under my pillow? And she lifted it up, and there was a quarter, the canteen, the egg, and the candy cane. And she knew that her canteen went all the way around the world. It took a couple years, but yeah, that was kind of a fun thing. Okay. Do we have any responses or any
Quite
questions?
a few. So we have Lena that joined us, Brianna, and Brianna is hoping she's on the nice list with her brother and her sister.
Brianna, I don't think that you and your brother and sister have anything to worry about.
Linda joined us.
Hi, Linda.
Yvette was really worried because she didn't have time to write her letter.
Okay, I want you to do something for me, okay? Tonight, when you go to bed, think real hard about what you would like for Christmas, okay? Just think about it real hard. Maybe tell your mommy or daddy to write it down, and just put it someplace special, and I'll have an elf listen to what you're asking for, or read your note. But sweetheart, I can't come after today because I'm getting ready for Christmas tomorrow, but we'll get your list. Don't worry about it. Okay?
We have Anita that joined us.
Anita?
Merry Christmas, Anita.
And Christian said he loves cookies and he's going to leave you chocolate chip cookies tomorrow.
Oh, Christian, I love chocolate chip cookies.
We also have Nancy that says she is in Huntsville, Alabama, but her grandkids are in Yakima. And so glad that you are able to talk to all the kids here.
Huntsville is that it's just beautiful. I'm glad that you could join us, and I'll be making sure that your grandkids get some good presents because they're on the nice list. But you want to know something? I remember when you were a little girl and you were afraid to sit on my lap. So I hope that you've gotten over that, and maybe someday we can meet and you can sit on my lap, okay? She wanted a doll that year.
Oh.
Maybe she got it.
Summer's joined us.
Hi, Summer.
And Chance said his favorite Christmas song is Santa Claus Coming to Town.
Well, that's a wonderful song.
I have a lot of fun with that song. You know, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus. That's me. I'm coming to town. I love that song.
I think parents like that song too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one parent that rather than Santa Claus is coming to town, he liked the one about mistletoe,
Oh, yes.
because he liked to smooch with his wife. Deck the halls with boughs of holly and stuff. So, anything else there?
We have Iris that's joined us.
Merry Christmas, Iris.
And a
Iris
question-
liked a flower.
Mm-hmm. And we have a question of, do you like snowman cookies?
I love snowman cookies. Oh, snowman cookies. I don't eat them around Frosty the Snowman, though, because he gets upset when he sees people eating snowmen. But he does like, however, he does like Christmas tree cookies. I have noticed that about Frosty.
And that's all that's come in right now.
Okay, speaking of cookies, I'm going to tell you how I met Mrs. Claus. We met a long time ago when we were just young. And she was a little girl that worked in the factory, well, it was a factory to me, but it was really just a bakery. You know how when you're young and you're little, things look so big. So the first time I went in there, because the cookies smelled so good, I had just earned a penny, and I could buy a cookie for a penny. And I went up and I asked for a cookie. I can't even remember what the cookie was, because this cute little girl came over and gave me a cookie. And well, as time went by, I earned more and more pennies, and every time I got a penny, I would go to the bakery and buy a cookie. But I'd always wait until that cute little girl was going to be the one that gave out the next cookie. Well, in a bakery they had bread and rolls and buns and all kinds of stuff, and cookies. But I would wait until her mommy and daddy were busy helping somebody else, and then I'd go up to the counter and ask for a cookie. Well, this went on for years, and we got older and we grew up, and she got more and more beautiful every year, and I bought more and more cookies. And then one year I went to see her, and it was on Christmas Eve, okay? And I was going to get a cookie to put in my lunch bag that I carried with me, because back then I wasn't in my sleigh. I was just walking around delivering the toys. And I came in with my penny, and she said, no, you keep the penny. You give it to a little boy or girl. And on the counter was a plate. It had 2 cookies and a glass of milk, and it said, for Nick, because back then I was known as Nicholas, okay? My friends called me Nick. And it said, for Nick. And it was 2 cookies and a glass of milk. And I'll tell you something, that's why I love cookies so much on Christmas Eve night, because every time you kids put out a cookie for me, it reminds me of Mrs. Claus and when we met, okay? So that's why cookies are so special to me, besides the fact that they taste really good, okay?
And he does so look forward to your gifts. He
Well,
does.
I like getting stuff from you kids, and I like giving you stuff even more. And giving is what Christmas is all about, okay? So when you give me some cookies to eat, or maybe a carrot for my reindeer, or a glass of milk, or a glass of water, or some hot chocolate, it's special, okay? So it just makes me feel good. Any questions or any?
We have that Brianna was asking if she could have a remote control car for Christmas.
We normally don't make electrical stuff. We make toys, like out of wood and stuff. But we do have some remote control cars up there. And I will get with your mommy and daddy and see what type of car would be best for you. And if we have that, I'll try to get it for you, okay? But yeah, remote control cars are fun.
Kaylee said she has left a gift for you waiting under the Christmas tree.
Oh, okay. I'll look for it when I get to your house. Okay? And I'll put it in my pocket instead of my bag. That way I won't accidentally leave it someplace else. Can I open it when I'm at your house, or do I have to wait till I get to the North Pole and put it under my tree? If you could answer back so I know. We got any other questions there?
Rosa has joined us.
Hi, Rosa.
Merry Christmas.
And Sarah said, Mrs. Claus, you are very beautiful and sweet.
Oh.
I would have to agree with that. Absolutely. We have been married more than 4 years. I won't say how long we've been married, but we've been together for a long time.
And many more years to come.
It would seem like it was 4 years, except I know it hasn't, because when we met, my beard was brown.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
More than 4 years ago.
More than 4.
Kayla said, whenever you want to open it, you can.
Oh, okay. I'm going to open it when I get back up in my sleigh, okay?
Okay, but don't leave a big mess. I know you get excited when you open up the presents.
I'll open it slowly up in my sleigh. Thank you so much, Katie.
Rosa asked if she can have a OMG remix surprise.
An oh my God remix surprise. We'll see. You never can tell. You know, if you've been good, if you've been really good, all right, we'll see.
Our creative department will definitely work on that one.
Yep.
Valentina has joined us.
Hi, Valentina.
Merry Christmas, Valentina.
And that's it for now.
Okay, so have any of you kids ever practiced saying ho ho ho? You know, a big one, ho 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 ho, or a little one, ho 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 ho. Or you can even do it like this. That's one of my favorites. Only it's more fun to do when something really tickles me than when I'm just trying to show it. You know how when you're walking and you see something and it makes you giggle? You know, that giggle feels better than when somebody says, you know, what do you sound like when you giggle, and you're just sitting there and you go, hee hee hee. That's not as much fun as like when you're walking down the street and you see a little chipmunk run up a tree and it makes you giggle. Okay, so ho ho ho's are more fun. Oh, you know what ho ho ho's I like? When I'm flying through the sky and I'm saying goodbye to all of you, because I'm just so happy that I was able to get you stuff you wanted. So that's a big ho ho ho.
Sarai has joined us.
Soraya?
And then Nancy and
That's a
David
beautiful
love to
name.
make cookies.
Who now? I'm sorry.
Nancy and David love to make cookies.
Oh.
What's their favorite kind of cookie?
You know, I like round cookies or square cookies or triangular cookies or cookies that look like animals or plants or stars or triangles or circles or wreaths. Did I say squares?
Yes.
Did I say round?
Yes.
Circles? I can't think. There. Yeah, I pretty much like any cookie that you make.
And angels.
And well, yeah. Especially if they got little horns that they're blowing, little trumpets, because you can hold on to that and make it like they're flying through the air. They're
Reindeer
fun.
cookies are good.
Oh, reindeer, yeah. Although they're not made out of real reindeer, just
No.
so that you don't worry. Okay. Reindeer cookies are just
Flour and sugar.
Yep.
Valentina asked, what would you like for Christmas?
The best present I can get for Christmas is that you be happy and are with people you love. Okay? So that you're happy and be with people you love, and that makes me happy, and that's the best gift I can have. Okay? But thank you for thinking about me.
Can the reindeer talk?
Only to me.
It's true.
That's it. I think they're shy. I mean, I don't think that they really couldn't talk to Candy Cane. You know, one of them might come up, hey, Miss Sparkle, hey, Sparkle Elf. And because she would think that it was another elf, she'd look down at the floor to see what elf was talking to her, and it would be a reindeer, and she would miss that, and then the reindeer would get embarrassed and not say anything else.
I think another problem might be you guys have a lot of time to talk together when you're flying around the world.
That's true.
And when they're home, they like to eat oats a lot. So it's a little hard to talk when you've got a mouthful of oats.
That's true. Well, Dasher tried that one time, and I got oats all in my beard.
Yeah.
And then I went out in rain, and they got sticky. And, well, that's a whole nother story.
We got a comment of gingerbread, oatmeal, and sugar cookies are their favorites.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. The gingerbread man came by the other day, and he brought 2 dozen gingerbread men. And when I went to get one to eat it, they ran away. I did not know that they were gingerbread men like the gingerbread man. So I don't think we found them all yet. I think they're pretty much still all through the workshop.
I hear them laughing a lot.
They do giggle a lot. They do giggle a lot. So we got anything else going on?
Maria asked if Santa would be bringing presents to her house this year.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The short answer is yes. Okay. Oh, how many mommies and daddies that are watching sat on my lap when they were little? Okay? I'm always interested to find out where my true believers are. Oh, you want to see something cool that Candy Cane Sparkle got me? She got me a me mug.
And me too.
Yep.
A me and me mug.
Yeah. She got me mugs. And they're a lot of fun to drink out of. And then somebody told me that I might be able to call them minion mugs. Does anybody know what minions are? Because I'm a little bit confused. I didn't know minions could be a mug. So if any of you can clear that up for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. My favorite cookie today, not because it changes every day, my favorite cookie today are lemon bars, okay? So what are your favorite cookies today or for all time, all right? So I like lemon bars today. Tomorrow it's probably going to be something like, oh, I don't know, oatmeal raisin or something, but today it's lemon bars.
Or sometimes if he can't make up his mind, he'll just go, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like cookies, all of them.
Well, there was one cookie I didn't like.
I know. That little 3-year-old girl. Yeah.
Little girl, she wanted to make me a cookie by herself. And of course, being 3 years old, her mommy wouldn't let her use the oven. So she made a cookie for me out of mud. And it was a really realistic looking cookie, I'll tell you. I mean, I looked at it, I thought that was a real cookie. So when I got to her house and I put the toys down, I took a big old bite of that cookie. That's the only cookie I've ever had I didn't like. I liked the cookie, I just didn't like the taste. We put the cookie in our cookie museum up at the North Pole, because every time I get a new type of cookie from one of you kids, I save one of them to put in the cookie museum. But luckily, that year when she gave me the mud cookie, she also gave me a big glass of milk. So that helped, because mud cookies are kind of gritty. What are your favorite cookies? Anybody answer yet?
Nobody yet, but Maria said she liked your mugs.
They are nice mugs. They're pretty cool. And we don't argue about whose mug is whose. Because up at the North Pole, we both have mugs that are painted like candy canes, and we're always arguing whose mug is whose, okay? And I say that mine isn't the one with the chip in it. And Mrs. Claus says she would never chip a mug. So then we went to Beauty and the Beast, and we talked to Chip, who's the little cup and saucer, and said, who chipped the mug? And he said we had to keep track of that. He was too little. So we never did figure out who chipped the mug. But I think that's why Candy Cane gave us mugs with our faces on them, so that.
And sometimes chips just happen. Through no one's fault.
Is that like when they say the chips are down? Is that when the chip falls off your mug?
It could be.
Oh, I never
thought
thought about that.
Yeah.
Could be where that phrase came from, when the chips are down. Okay. Anything so far?
Linda's joined us.
Hi, Linda.
Merry Christmas, Linda.
Chance has a variety of things he's asking for Christmas.
Okay.
From speakers or headphones or a Hollywood Hogan sweatshirt.
Oh.
Or Michael Jordan cologne.
Whoa.
Or a Santa Claus movie or Star Wars movie.
Wow. Okay.
Those are all good.
Those are all good things to ask for. We'll see what we can do. We try to keep Hulk Hogan shirts. We've got those in the wardrobe section, don't we?
I know, it all depends on the size.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll make sure that we got your size, and if we got one in your size, we'll get it to you. I just sometimes, I know about toys, but I get a little bit, and sometimes I'm not sure what we have in the way of like clothes. I know we have a lot of mittens, we have a lot of gloves, we have coats and shoes, lots of underwear, hats.
Scarves. Things
Yeah.
that make you warm, sweaters.
Yeah. Anything else there?
Rosa asked if they could see the reindeer, but
Then you'd have to see me, sweetheart. And sometimes I'll show up at like fairs or places where they ask me to come and occasionally bring reindeers. And sometimes I'll bring one, sometimes I'll bring two, sometimes I'll bring all 8. And I can show you them, but when I'm out and about on Christmas Eve, I try not to be seen by you kids, okay? That's why you have to be asleep.
The temptation is that he would want to spend time with you.
That's true. Okay, I'm going to tell the secret. You kids need to be asleep because I have a bad habit of when I meet a little boy or a little girl with a toy, I like to sit down and play with the toy with them. So, because I like toys. I don't know if you know this, I make toys. That's what I do. I'm a toy maker. Okay, but anyway, where were we?
Linda said to say hi, Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry
Linda,
Christmas
Merry
to you
Christmas.
too, Linda.
And we have Christina that just came on.
Hi, Christina.
Merry Christmas.
Okay,
Christina.
anybody want to know how I met Rudolph? Would that be something that you guys would be interested in? Because, it's really kind of interesting. I think.
It's a great story.
Okay, I'm not even going to wait for somebody to say, yeah! I'm just going to tell you. Okay, when Rudolph was first born, he was a very smart and a very strong and a very fast reindeer, but he was small. I don't know how many of you have seen a litter of puppies, but the smallest puppy in the litter is called a runt because it's always so much smaller than the others. Well, of all the reindeers that were born that year, Rudolph was the smallest. He would have been the runt. So he saw a star at night, and he was the first one. And if you're the first one to see a star when it comes out, you get one wish. And if the fates think that that was a good wish, they'll answer it. So Rudolph asked for something special to make him stand out from the other reindeer because he was so small, people would miss him. And it wasn't antlers. He didn't want to have big antlers because all reindeer have antlers, boys and girls. He didn't want to be big because there were a lot of big reindeer. Okay? He didn't want to have, a different colored coat because reindeers are supposed to be brown. But then he got looking around and he noticed that all reindeer also had the same type of nose. And if he asked for a different nose, then that was just a little thing that he wanted changed. So he asked the fates that maybe he could have a nose that stood out, like a red nose. So the fates thought that was a pretty good pretty good wish. So they went a little bit overboard. They gave him a nose that was twice its size. It was very, very, very red. It was red like my suit. And it was shiny, so shiny that even in a dark room, he could see where he was going. And he was never in the dark. He never got lost because he could always see where he's going. But the other reindeer didn't see it as a good thing. They made fun of him because he had a red nose. Okay? So just keep all of this in mind. He lived in a town called Deer Home, and that's where all the reindeer lived, in the town of Deer Home. And so one night it was really foggy, and it was rainy or snowstorms, and I couldn't hardly see where I was going. And Dasher and Dancer are the lead reindeer. They were even afraid. And as long as there was a little bit of light, we could see well enough because we could see street names and house numbers, and we could see where cities were and stuff. But as the night got longer, more and more people went to sleep, and the lights got turned out, and we couldn't hardly see where we were going. So we got to Deer Home, and I was putting out presents, and pretty much by this time it was so dark I had to guess who the presents were for or the house we were at, and I was just doing my best to remember from the map that I had of what house was where, okay? And we were doing pretty good because the reindeer were helping me, but it was slowing things down so much. And then I got to this one house, and I went inside, and just like all the other houses, it was dark, dark, dark. So I went into one bedroom to leave a toy, and the little reindeer was asleep in there. So I left a toy for the reindeer. And then I went to the next room, the very next room, and I opened up the door and I froze because I thought a light had been turned on. And, you know, little ones shouldn't see me, you know. And then I realized that the light wasn't moving. And I could hear very soft snoring. So I went in the room and I looked down at the bed, and there was this reindeer. And he was sound asleep, but his nose was glowing. And I thought, that's what I need to help me find my way. So I gave him just a little shake so I wouldn't scare him. And he woke up, and at first he couldn't believe his eyes, because I'm not usually waking people up, right? I mean, I usually just am there and gone while you sleep. And I said, Rudolph, because I knew his name, I said, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, would you be able to guide my sleigh tonight? And he said, what? I said, well, it's very foggy, and it's very rainy, and very snowy, and I can't hardly see where I'm going. And I would like you to be the lead reindeer so that we can get all the toys and presents to the good little boys and girls throughout the world, because I'm afraid I might not be able to get back in time or get them out in time. And he was so proud, his nose just really glowed, and I thought, now I have got a way I can see. So we wrote a real quick note, and it says Mommy and Daddy, and he said, Dear Mommy and Daddy, Santa asked me to guide his sleigh tonight, and I'll be back in the morning. And I wrote on there, Dear Mrs. and Mrs. Reindeer, this is Santa, and I need Rudolph to help me guide my sleigh because it's so dark and stormy that I need somebody to guide the way. Love, Santa. And off we went. And my reindeer thought it was absolutely amazing. And because they could fly and they needed him to be out in front, they shared their magic with him so he could fly. And we took off. And from way up, his nose was so bright, we could see where we were going. And then when we got down, he could turn the light on his nose down so it was just enough, kind of like a small flashlight, so I could peek in rooms and make sure that boys and girls were asleep and knew where to put the toys and who the toys were for. And he saved Christmas that year because I'm pretty sure I couldn't have made it through the entire world without some help. So we went back to Deertown, and the people were just getting up. You know how you get up early because it's Christmas Day and you're looking for your presents? Well, in Deertown, they had a tradition that they got from Whoville, okay, where they went out and they danced around and sung Christmas carols around the tree in the town square before they opened up their presents. So they were down there and they were dancing around the tree, and I'm pretty sure that they were singing Silent Night. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. And Mr. and Mrs. Reindeer were worried about Rudolph because we hadn't made it back yet. But then I gave out a big ho 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 ho, and they looked up and here comes my sled, my sleigh. It's actually a sled. People call it a sleigh. And guess who's in front that they could see? Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. And we landed in the square, and I took him out of the harness, and he went over to his mommy and daddy and gave him a big hug. And now all the reindeer that made fun of him because of his red nose thought he's a hero because I told them what he had done. And they lifted him up on his shoulders, and they danced holding him on their shoulders because he saved Christmas. And then I got permission from his mommy and daddy that he could come up to the North Pole with me, and they could come up too and live there because you never can tell when I might need him again. And I've needed him a number of times. So, yeah, that's how he and I met. He saved Christmas. The littlest reindeer that all the other reindeer made fun of because he had a different nose. And now he's a hero. They've made movies about him. They've written songs about him. You know, and it's kind of cool. I really enjoy him.
He is a sweet.
He's gotten a lot bigger since he was a runt, though. I mean, he's almost the same size as Donner, and Donner's not my biggest reindeer, but Donner's a good-sized reindeer. So Rudolph's grown up quite a bit. You got anything?
We've got a few.
Okay.
One asks, how do the reindeer fly?
Magic. It's just that simple. Christmas magic.
Joyce has joined us.
Hi, Joyce.
Merry Christmas.
And Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Merry Christmas, Patty.
And do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Oof. The one that gets me most stirred is the Hallelujah chorus. I like that one. But I would think just to go around singing, because I don't have a big enough voice to sing the Hallelujah chorus all the time. I would say my favorite, do I need more favorites? Favorite Christmas song is Jingle Bells. I like Jingle Bells. Matter of fact, when I say Jingle Bells a lot, that makes me want to sing Jingle Bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle. Oh, wait a second, we got more.
Kristen has joined us.
Hi, Kristen.
Merry Christmas.
And Maria.
Oh, Maria, you're on the good list. Just want to let you know.
Marlene.
Hi, Marlene.
Merry Christmas.
And Aliyah, and she says hello.
Hi, Aliyah. How you doing?
And AJ has joined us.
Hey, AJ.
He said he even watched you yesterday.
Wonderful.
I'm glad that you're back.
And I'm glad you sent us a message.
And then Chance asked how you're doing, Mrs. Claus.
Chance, I'm doing great. I love this time of year, and most of the hard work is done. We've got a busy day tomorrow that we're looking forward to, but it's the best time of year. It's the best time for bringing people together with joy and brotherhood, and I love it. I love everything about the season.
Avir has joined us.
Hello, Avir. Merry Christmas.
And then one of the elves wrote in for Autumn and Winston, and to say they hope that they're on the good list because they have been very good this season.
Okay,
well,
let me just double check and make sure. Okay. What were those names?
Autumn and Winston, and they asked about their cousin Peyton as well.
Okay. Autumn's in the beginning. You're on the good list. And Peyton. Just one page. Oh, yep. You're on the good list. And the cousin?
Well,
Peyton was the cousin.
Oh, Peyton was the cousin. That's
And Winston?
Winston. Winston, you're on the good list, and Peyton, your name is on the wrong page. So, that's because you and Winston are related. Oh, yeah. You're both on the good list, but as boys, you're kind of, you're closer to the naughty list than girls usually are, because boys do weird stuff.
But there's a very small chance that you'll have time to do anything to move over to the naughty list before
Yeah.
tomorrow night.
Yeah, you'd have to eat like an entire Christmas pie and not share it with anybody else to get on the naughty list.
Yeah,
So
that
you're
could
you're
be.
on the good list.
That's all for now?
Okay. Let's see. Oh, you want to hear how I became Santa Claus? Would you like to hear that? When I was a young boy, I lived down around the Mediterranean Sea, okay? And my mommy and daddy owned a shipping company. And they would send stuff across the water to other places so people could trade. And that's like sharing things. Well, one year there was a terrible storm and their ship sank. And both my mommy and daddy died, leaving me alone. Now I was put in charge of the shipping company because even though I was young, I was a boy, you were expected to follow in your dad's footsteps. And we didn't have to wait until we were 18 or 19 years old to have a job. We could work when we were young. So I went to work running my mom's and dad's shipping company. And we made a lot of money, and I had a beautiful house, and I had lots of money, and I had lots of stuff, and good clothes, and lots to eat. And one day I was walking down the street, and I went past this house of a cobbler. Now that's somebody that makes shoes. And he was sitting out in front of his house making shoes. Now you have to understand something. Back then a lot of people didn't buy shoes. Only rich people like me could afford to buy shoes. Most people wrapped their feet in cloth, just wore socks, or maybe if they were really lucky they'd take a piece of leather and make something that looked like sandals. Okay? So he didn't have a whole lot of money, but he was clean, and even though his clothes weren't the best, his clothes were clean, and he worked very hard, and his work was very good. And I looked at his house, and even though it was what we called a hut back then, that's a very small house. Even though the hut that he lived in needed repairs, it was as clean as he could get it. And then I looked at his daughters, and he had 3 girls. And each one of them, they had a dress. It wasn't the best dress in the world, but it was clean. And they were nice and clean because he kept them washed. And they didn't have shoes or sandals, but they did have socks that they wore. Okay? And he made sure that they washed their socks every day so that their feet would be as clean as possible. And as I was walking by, I looked inside, and I noticed that in their kitchen they didn't have hardly any food. So I thought about this as I was going down to my office by the water. And on the way back home, I was looking up the street, and I saw their little hut, their little house, and my big stone house. And I thought, there's got to be something I can do. I've got so much. And even though they're making a living, they don't have a whole lot. And I was talking to this about one of the guys I worked with. And he said, well, one of the sad things, really sad things, is that the girls can't get married. They'll never have a husband or children of their own. And I said, well, why? And my bookkeeper said, because they have to have a dowry. Now back then, when people got married, girls had to have a dowry, okay? The boy, the man, was expected to provide a house. the woman provided a dowry so that they could buy things to put in the house. And that way, everything they had, they both could put it together in one household, okay? But to be married, a girl had to have a dowry, otherwise nobody would want to marry them. So I got to thinking about this. And that night, I went up to my house, and I was thinking about it, and thinking about it, and thinking about it. And I was looking on my desk, and I had 4 gold coins. I thought, I really don't need those. So I took them, and I put them in a little cloth sack. And back then I was afraid to go into people's homes because they didn't know me, okay? I was just somebody else. And I looked, and I could see the chimney. And I thought, okay. And I threw the coins real high, and luckily they went right down the chimney, and guess where they landed? In the oldest girl's sock. Every night when they washed their socks, they would hang them up by the fireplace to dry. So they woke up in the morning, and the oldest girl found 4 gold coins in her sock. And being a good daughter, she gave them to her daddy. Well, her daddy took 2 coins, 2 of the gold coins, and he put them off to the side for a dowry. And then he took the other gold coins, and he did stuff like buy them new dresses, buy them shoes finally. Well, actually, he made them shoes. But he had to pay for the stuff to make them out of. Bought better food, and I noticed that he didn't spend any of it on him. It was always for his girls. So the next night, I went down, and I threw another bag of coins. And it went up in the chimney and down, and this time it missed the socks, and it went clunk on the stones of the fireplace. And they all woke up, and I had to scoot away real quick so they wouldn't see me, because it was important to me that they didn't know who they got the gold coins from. Because if you do something for somebody and you expect them to say thank you or give you something back, that's not really the best way to give. Okay, the best way to give is when you give something to somebody and you don't expect anything back. Okay, and I didn't want them to know who was doing it. So when that went clunk, I ran away and I hid. Okay? So they woke up when the coins hit. The dad looked at them. He took 2 gold coins, put it off to the side for the dowry for the second oldest daughter, his middle daughter. And then over the next period of time, he spent money fixing up the house, doing good things for his girls. He finally bought himself an apron, a leather apron to wear so he could protect his clothes while he was making shoes. And I thought that's nice, because he spends almost all the money on his daughters, very little on himself. So the third night, I decided that I was going to do something extra because it was Christmas Eve. So I took 4 gold coins and 4 silver coins and put them in a bag. Threw them up in the chimney, and luckily those landed in the youngest girl's stocking up on the mantle. And when they woke up in the morning, the dad took 2 gold coins, because now he had a dowry for his youngest daughter. He took 2 gold coins and he went out and he bought his daughters like beds because they were sleeping on the floor. More food, better food. He actually bought a chair so they could sit in and study. And he bought a lamp so they could see at night. But all things that made stuff good for him. But then he did for them. But then he did something amazing. He took the 4 silver coins and he went down to the marketplace and he bought things like oranges and little things that they're called figs, okay? They're about this big, and they're yummy. They taste good, and olives and all kinds of good things to eat or to just to have, and nuts, stuff like that. And then he went around to people And he would say, here, have an orange. Here, have a date. So he shared the extra wealth that he got with people around him because he knew that to give something felt better than getting something. And he wanted other people to get presents and be happy. And that's when I started thinking, okay, maybe I should do this on a regular basis. So that's how I got the idea to become Santa Claus. And eventually, the church, and I went to work for the church actually for a while as a bishop, decided that what I did was good enough to be called a saint, and they called me Saint Nicholas. That's where you hear Saint Nick from, and that's how my lovely wife knew me as Nicholas, as Nick. But anyway, if it wasn't for that farmer, or that cobbler, excuse me, and his daughters, I might never have come up with the idea to be Santa Claus, because it took him taking the extra that he had and sharing it. Today we call that paying it forward. But he shared the good things that happened to him with other people. So that kind of gave me the idea of what I should do every Christmas Eve.
I like that story.
I love that story.
So we got anything there?
Alyssa has joined us,
Hi, Alyssa.
and Claudia,
Hi, Claudia. Merry Christmas to Alyssa and Claudia.
Merry Christmas.
and Perla,
Hi, Perla.
and Deborah Lynn,
Perla and Deborah Lynn, hi.
and Salvador.
Oh, Salvador, how you doing? Feliz Navidad. Oh, hey, guess what? I don't know if all of you know this, but if you write out Feliz Navidad, which is how we say Merry Christmas in Spanish, if you say Feliz Navidad with a lowercase n, that means Merry Christmas, just the day of Christmas. But if you write out Feliz Navidad and put a capital N on it, then that means joyous nativity, or epiphany, excuse me, joyous epiphany. And the epiphany, you all know what the epiphany is. They wrote a song about it. It's the 12 days of Christmas. The epiphany is from when Christ was born until the three wise men finally found where he was and brought him their gifts. So it took 12 days from when baby Jesus was born till the three wise men found him. Okay? And I think that's kind of interesting how the same words can have two different meanings depending on how you write them out. It's really kind of cool.
We also have Melissa that's joined us.
Merry Christmas, Melissa.
And then an elf wrote in again asking about a person to be put on the good list. Actually, two people. Gunnar and Garrett. They have been very good this Christmas, and they cannot wait till you get there.
Okay,
Aww.
Gunnar, Garrett, we will be there. And we actually have gotten other reports about you from your elf. So seeing that he wrote in while we're on the air, so to speak, and sharing with everybody, I will go to the Naughty and Nice book, and next to your names I will put a gold star with cross candy canes, which is the highest good award that we can give. Okay, so you have been good.
We have a question. Is Rudolph going to travel with you this year?
It depends on the weather. He is still my youngest reindeer. His mommy and daddy still would prefer that he stay home. In about another half a century, he'll be old enough to decide to go out on his own, whether or not he wants to fly with us on his own. And then I would expect to see him with us more. But he's less than 200 years old, so he's still a young Santa reindeer.
Chance can't wait for you to get there. He's so excited.
I'm very excited to come to your house, Chance.
Amira has joined us. She's 3 years old. And Jalil Jr., he's a year and a half. And they are so excited for you to be there as well.
Oh, I'm so excited to see you guys. You need to give your little brother a big hug, okay? And make sure he goes to sleep early so I can come and see you.
Yeah,
Okay?
a year and a half, sometimes that can be dicey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay?
And Deb and Debbie have joined us now.
Hi, Deb and Debbie. Which one is which? Who's Deb and who's Debbie? Oh, wait a second. Deb would be Deb and Debbie would be Debbie.
Yes,
Okay.
that's true.
Hi. Merry Christmas. Oh. Do y'all want to know how I got elves? I mean, most people think that I've had them forever and ever, and I haven't, have I?
No.
A long time ago, after I started being a gift giver, because I wasn't called Santa Claus at that time yet, I would make toys, little wooden toys for girls and boys. Because even though I owned a shipping firm, I really didn't enjoy that too much. So I sold it. I didn't do that anymore. And I gave much of my money to the church. And so I wasn't rich anymore. And I lived in a small wood shop where I would whittle toys or cut them out or put them together. And I don't know if you know this, but I invented the ball. Not really, but I invented the ball as a gift. And I would see houses with little girls and boys, and I'd watch, and if they were good, I would give them a toy. And the more joy I got out of making toys, the more I wanted to find out which little girls and boys were good. The more I went through the village, the more toys I had to make. Pretty soon I was making toys for all the girls and boys in my village, and then I just started going to the next village, and the next village, and the next village, and pretty soon I was running out of time to make toys. I mean, I was really worried because I knew of a town that had a lot of really good girls and boys in it, but I knew I couldn't make enough toys. And I was walking home through the woods one day, and I sat down on a log, and down on the ground was what they call a fairy ring. That's a ring made out of toadstools. And I saw this little person in there, and I was afraid because I thought only fairies were in fairy rings. And it wasn't. It was an elf. And he climbed up on the log next to me, and he reached in his pocket, pulled out a piece of wood, and he reached in his other pocket, he pulled out a knife, and he started carving. And in no time at all, he made a figurine that's like a little doll of a dog. And he looked at me and he said, "I hear you could use some help making toys." I said, "You have no idea." He goes, "Yeah, I have some idea. I've been watching you. The wee folk," that's what fairies and elves and pixies and gnomes are called, "I've been watching you for a long time, and you think what you're doing is good, and I'd like to help you, but you can't tell anybody about me." So I said, "Fine." And that year, I had extra time. I went and got extra cookies. Mrs. Claus and I weren't married yet. We were still just kind of looking, at one another, and we were shy. But that's a whole other story. So he went around with me, and he would peek in because he was little to make sure that the kids were asleep. Because I wasn't wrapping presents yet, I had to put the toys in the individual kids' rooms. Okay, so he'd go in and make sure everybody was asleep. So after we did that, he enjoyed it so much. He said, "Would you mind if I brought a couple of friends?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." Does anybody have any idea, have any of you been watching the last few days, of how many of his friends showed up? 752,850 41 friends. That was a lot of elves. We couldn't live in my workshop. So we found that we could go to the North Pole. You know who told us about the North Pole? Any guesses?
Remember.
Any guesses?
Oh, sweetie, I know this story.
Yeah. The Tooth Fairy. Because he knew all the kids in the world. And he goes, I like what you're doing. And if you go up to the North Pole, they don't have any penguins up there because penguins like to run away with toys. And nobody goes up there, and you can be nice and private, and there's lots of space to build a workshop. So we decided to go up there. And the fairies actually had to bring me up there because I didn't have magic to travel that far yet. They used fairy magic, and elves used fairy magic, and gnomes used fairy magic, and, well, all the wee folk used fairy magic to get up to the North Pole, and we built this big workshop where 742,841 elves and Santa, me, not Santa at the time, but me, could be there in private and work at making toys. And that's how I got elves. And they've been with me ever since. It's really kind of cool. They're magic. They're magical beings all by themselves. They can't fly, but you know how in Harry Potter they can like have a boot and you can touch it and the boot takes them to someplace else? They have magic like that with ornaments and candy canes and Christmas lights and stuff like that. So they can touch an ornament and go from the North Pole to, let's say, Dallas, Texas, that fast. And it's really kind of cool. That's how I keep my bags full of toys fresh while I'm traveling all through Christmas Eve night. Because let's face it, little boys and girls in Japan want different toys than little boys and girls in India want different toys than boys and girls in France or Spain want, or America. So we have to get the right toys to the right kids in the right places. Because let's face it, if I had a bag full of toys for kids in Pittsburgh and I took that bag full of toys accidentally to I don't know, Phoenix, Arizona, I'd have the wrong toys for the wrong kids. So the elves make sure that I have the right bag for the right town for the right kid by making sure that they get it from the North Pole to me when I need it. So that's why, if you watch movies, I'll come up out of the chimneys and the bag is all looking empty, okay? And then you'll see it in my sleigh and it's all full and fat with toys. That's because the elves brought a replacement bag, okay? So that's the story of me and my elves.
We've had a few join us. Oh, and Amira said she tried to hug her brother, but he ran away.
Oh. Brothers will do that. You still get credit for trying to hug your brother. That'll put you on the good deed list.
Ashley's joined us.
Merry Christmas, Ashley.
Merry Christmas, Ashley.
Sue.
Oh, hello, Sue.
Michael.
Oh,
hi, Michael.
Merry Christmas, Michael.
Nicole.
Nicole, how are you?
Nicole, did you sit on my lap it was last year? Well, answer me if you want to. You don't have to.
And Brian's joined us.
Hello, Brian.
And Riva.
Riva. Nice name.
And Rose.
Hello, Rose. You know, we have
Christmas
an iris
Rose.
watching too.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. And one of Rudolph's friends' reindeer's name is Petunia.
She's one of my favorite.
Yeah. Petunia's a little shy.
Eliza.
Eliza, hi. How you doing? Merry Christmas.
And we had a question of if Dasher is fast.
Dasher is fast. He actually Dasher's a girl. And she lives up to her name. I mean, she is double, triple, quadruple quick.
Very light on her feet. Great.
There was
candy.
one time I had an apple in my hand and it dropped and she was all the way across the stable, but she got to it before it hit the floor. So yeah, she's very fast.
And that's all we have for now.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I have to be careful of the time because we only have so much time today, and it's going by so fast I can't believe it. I want to ask somebody if they know what a bobtail sleigh is. Okay? Does anybody know what a bobtail sleigh is? It has to do with horses. Okay? So, maybe somebody out there that their mommies and daddies race horses or owns a horse can tell me what a bobtail is. Oh! And I gotta ask y'all, how many of you think that there are jingle bells on the reindeer's harnesses? Do my reindeers have... Oh, don't be shaking your head, Mrs. Claus. You give the answer. Yes, there are jingle bells on my reindeer's
And I love how they
harnesses.
sound.
Yes. Well, it was her idea to use more than 5 jingle bells on each reindeer. See, because I had just jingle bells across the front of their harness. And next thing I know, I went out the next day to look at the harnesses because I wanted to show it because I just made them. I don't just make toys, I also do stuff in leather. And I went out there, there were jingle bells everywhere on those. You know, it's pretty amazing. Okay, has anybody answered the question about a bobtail?
Eliza said it's a sleigh, and then also she said she knew that the reindeers have jingle bells.
A bobtail is when they take a horse's tail and they make it like a bun. And some places they cut the tail off, so the tail's bobbed. But usually, because horses need their tails to get rid of flies, in the winter months when they're in the sleighs, they'll kind of make the tails into a bun, and I think that's because so they don't get smacked in the face when the wind is blowing during snow and stuff.
That makes sense.
Okay, how many of you know that at one time I wore a different suit than red and white? And what type of suit was it, and what color was it? So that's kind of interesting. This suit actually comes from about 1940, and there was a company called Coca-Cola, and they wanted to have a Christmas image of Santa that people liked and thought was kind of cool, and their artist came up with a red and white suit with buttons on it and a red and white hat with fur on it and fur around my boots, and that became really popular. So much so that Mrs. Claus, who loves red, thought that that's the way I should dress. But up until that time, when I was out giving toys, I dressed very differently. And can anybody guess what it was?
No guesses yet. Amanda has joined us though.
Hello,
Merry
Amanda.
Christmas,
Merry
Amanda.
Christmas.
And then Chance is asking if he could get a star with cross candy canes as well.
Okay. I will give you a star with cross candy canes. But you have to, and you don't have to do it now, you have to sing Jingle Bells to somebody, okay? And it doesn't have to be the whole song. You can just kind of like run up to them and go, jingle bells, jingle all the way. And that will be enough, okay? All right. So a star with crossed candy canes. Okay? Anything else?
Nobody's guessed on the color of the suit yet.
Okay. I'll give you a hint. It's in the book that a friend of mine wrote about my visit to his house called The Night Before Christmas. And it's the way I was dressed from my head to my foot. Okay? So we'll give you a little bit of time if you've got that book, or you can ask your mom or your daddy, and maybe somebody can figure out what it was. So It was kind of toasty warm, to tell you the truth. Um, oh. What's your favorite Christmas candy? Okay? Let me know what your favorite Christmas candy is. Because that's changed through the years. That really was different a long time ago. Sugar plums were a favorite candy. That was a plum actually covered with sugar. Baked and covered in sugar. And there were visions of sugar plums dancing in kids' heads. But what's your favorite candy today? Christmas candy. Not like a Twix bar, because a Twix bar isn't really a candy. Although Kisses are. Kisses, candy, chocolate Kisses have been, you'll see them wrapped in red and green.
It's a bar. A candy is
Yeah, candy is little
Yeah,
bite-sized
bite.
things, okay? So,
Chocolate covered cherries.
ooh, chocolate covered cherries. I love chocolate covered cherries. And anything on that yet?
AJ loves chocolate.
AJ, let's see. I can't think of anything made out of chocolate I don't like. So yeah, I like chocolate too. My favorite candy, I'll let you know what it is. They're hard candies, and they've been made for a long, long time. And they're round like a disc, and they've usually got a red or a green outside and white. They're cut like a coin, a real thick coin. Around the outside edge of the coin is usually red or green. Then there's white after that, and right in the middle is a wreath. And they're hard candies, and you don't really chomp on them too much. They're more designed to suck on. But that's always been one of my favorite, and I've enjoyed them for so long, it's kind of become my favorite. Although they do have that hard candy that looks like a raspberry, and it's hard on the outside, and it's got raspberry jelly on the inside. And then there's candy canes and sugar drops, lemon drops. No, the little round disc things. Yep.
Alyssa says she likes candy canes too, and we have a couple kids on here asking, is there anything that they can do to get a gold star and cross candy canes?
Okay. All right. Any of you that want a gold star with cross candy canes, because that's the best star that I can put next to your name in my good list, I want you to find somebody to sing Jingle Bells to. And if you don't have anybody to sing Jingle Bells to, just sing it to yourself. And when you do that, the elves will tell me you've done it. And up at the North Pole, they will make sure that a gold star with cross candy canes gets put next to your name, okay? So you can do that. And because this time of year, if it was, a long time ago in the year, and you wanted, a silver star with cross candy canes, we might say that, well, you have to go out and recycle, newspapers or something. But this close to Christmas, you don't have a whole lot of time to gather up 500 pounds of newspapers. So we're making it easier, because I'll tell you something, it's very hard this time of year for y'all to do extra special good things, because you've been good for so long. So it's just harder to get gold stars with cross candy canes the closer you get to Christmas. But you sing Jingle Bells, you got it. Okay?
Rebecca has joined us.
Hey, Rebecca.
Merry Christmas.
And then we have one worried about wearing a mask while delivering presents. They want to make sure you stay safe.
Okay. I do have a mask that I wear. And it's a red hat. I don't wear this during my deliveries. It's got a face shield on it, and it goes all the way down to my beard, and it pushes on my beard. My beard acts as a filter, and I can see through it, and it's like a red hat with a visor in the front. So yeah, I wear that. There's enough of you kids out here. Let me reiterate about COVID. COVID has been hard at the North Pole. but the pixies and fairies and gnomes came up to the North Pole, and they helped add on to the workshop so that we have plenty of space between the elves and everything. We get tested every day. We got a bunch of elves that their entire job is to go around to check for COVID, and we are staying safe. It's made things a little bit harder, and I will wear my mask because even if there's a little boy or a little girl that has somebody in their house suffering from COVID, I want to make sure I can get you your toys. Which brings up another thing. If you're afraid to have me come to your house, or you're afraid that I'll get sick and you want to protect me, you can have your parents contact me up until midnight tonight, okay? Up until my sled is finally loaded up, and we will ship the presents to you via EPE. That's Elf Package Express, and they will get to you in time for Christmas morning. And you won't have to worry about me coming into your house and getting COVID, or having somebody outside your house with COVID, okay? So we want to make sure that you're protected and you feel safe, so we can do it, as much as I would like to be the one to give you your presents and put them under your tree. We understand this year that some of you are afraid over COVID, and we'll use EPE to get you the presents, okay? That's Elf Express, or Elf Package Express. So don't worry about it. We'll get it figured out. Your mommy and daddy will know how to contact us, okay?
We have Michelle that's joined us,
Hello, Michelle.
and Chase, Haley, and Peyton have joined us.
Hey, Chase. We've got another Chase on here too, or is it the same Chase?
I heard he might be on the naughty list. Is that not? That's not the right one.
No.
Okay.
And Haley and Peyton. Hi.
Merry
Christmas.
And it's apparently Peyton's birthday today. He is 5 years old.
Oh, Merry. What a great time to have a birthday. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday.
And Eliza and AJ, they both sing Jingle Bells, so hopefully they got their stars.
Stars with crossed candy canes.
And Lance is on here.
Merry Christmas,
Hello, Lance. Merry Christmas.
And that's it for now.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the story about coal and sticks. Okay? You know how today, if you're bad, you get a lump of coal or a bundle of sticks. Back a long time ago, coal and sticks weren't a bad thing. Sometimes kids were so poor that their mommy and daddy couldn't afford to heat their homes. So they would ask for stuff to heat their homes. And I would bring coal or sticks to them. Now, some mean kids that got toys made fun of them because they only got coal or sticks. Okay? Now stop and think about this. A little boy or a little girl asking me to bring them coal or sticks because they wanted to warm up their house for their brothers and sisters and their mommy and daddy. Okay? That was a good thing to do. So they got coal and they got sticks. But when my elves told me about the mean children, the bullies, that were making fun of these kids that did wonderful things because they got coal or sticks, I decided that there would be a little bit of karma in their life. So next Christmas, all those kids that made fun of the children that asked for coal or sticks, they got a lump of coal. And it wasn't the good kind to burn in a fireplace. The best coal to burn was hard because it lasted longer. They got the soft coal, kind of like charcoal, that got all messy when they opened it up. So they had like charcoal dust on their clothes and on their hands and in their hair, and their mom and dad were going, "What?" And that's when they figured out that their children had been naughty. So now, because there are other things we use to keep homes warm, I give coal to children that were naughty. So at one time it was a good gift. Now it's just for doing naughty stuff, and that's why I picked coal. I mean, I could have picked a rock or something else, but that's why I picked coal. Okay, now the answer to how I was dressed. Okay, the line from the story was I was dressed all in fur from my head to my foot. Okay, back then, before I got these really nice red and white suits with the white fur and everything, I wore what they called furs inside out, where the hair was on the outside and the leather was on the inside. And that's what we wore because in sleds and sleighs and carriages and the way we got around during the winter months, they didn't have tops and sides and windows. They were just open.
Portable heaters.
Yeah, it didn't have portable heat. We didn't have any heaters. So we dressed nice and warm. And that was with fur because we had to use fur because we didn't have artificial fur. So there were animals that we used the fur off of, like bears and stuff, because that's very warm fur. So back then I was dressed from my head to my toes in fur, and I was covered in soot, and that's because everybody burned logs or coal in their fireplaces, so there was soot that went up the chimney. Mrs. Claus is very happy today that people don't burn coal and wood in their fireplaces when I come, although there are still some. I'll still get smudges, but I used to have to come home and I had to get undressed out in the stable because I'd have so much ashes and soot. But anyway, yeah, I was dressed in brown fur from my head to my foot. Anything?
Jack has joined us, and Eliza said she has to go, but she wanted to tell you that she loves both of you.
Love
We
you,
love you
Eliza.
too.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Jack.
Christmas. And Merry Christmas, Jack, to you also.
And Chancellor loves candy cane kisses.
Oh, candy cane kisses, yes. Oh, they're chocolate and candy cane together, all
You know-
filled in a little wrapper that you open up and you put them in your mouth and they just melt on you. Well, I won't. Yeah, they're good.
Do you know what that reminds me of?
Huh.
The story of the little girl that always reminded me of the little drummer boy who didn't think that he had anything worthwhile
Oh,
to
yeah,
give
the
his,
littlest
to
angel.
give a toy, and she took a box and she
Oh,
that story.
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you want to tell the rest of
Okay.
that story?
This happened probably maybe 100 years ago, 125 years ago. There was a little girl, and she was so little, she didn't get an allowance, she couldn't work, couldn't do anything. And back then, people made gifts for one another usually. They'd like knit a scarf or something like that, and I would provide like one toy for the kids. But this little girl wanted to give her mommy and daddy a present. So she came up with an idea, and she was wrapping this box. And paper cost a lot of money back then, okay? It wasn't like today. Paper was special. It took effort to make paper, especially decorative paper that you could wrap things in. So her mommy and daddy came in and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? That box is empty." And she opened up the box, and she showed it to him, and she said, "It's filled with kisses." She blew kisses into the box, so it was filled with love. And you know something? That was the best present her mommy and daddy got that year or ever. Okay? So if you're out there and you're worried you can't get somebody a present or give somebody a present, put love in a box and give it to them. And let them know that you filled the box with love. Because love, even though it makes you feel warmer than anything, doesn't weigh or cost anything. It doesn't cost you anything to love somebody. It doesn't weigh anything to give somebody a hug. So it's very light, but very powerful. And it has no cost, but it's priceless. Okay? So if you can give a box of love to somebody for Christmas and let them know that it's from you to them because they're special, that will be a fantastic Christmas present for anybody. Because I don't know of anyone who doesn't want to be loved. Okay? So, yeah, that little girl taught me something. I thought that was, because my elves watched that. And they came up and they said, Santa, you got to see this. So she is the only one, she's the only one in all of history that ever got a diamond star with 4 cross candy canes. She's the only one. I've never given one since then. I never gave one before then. But that touched me so much that when I picked up her gold star to put it next to her name, because I was so happy it made me cry. My tears made the gold star look like a diamond. And you know how when you're crying you see like 2 of everything? That's what happened to the candy cane. And when I put it in the book and dried my eyes, I found out that the star had turned into a diamond. And the candy canes had gone from just 2 to 4. So, I mean, that touched me. Okay.
Your love is a very powerful thing.
Yep.
Jen has joined us.
Hi, Jen.
And
Merry
she
Christmas.
says she loves these amazing stories and thank you.
I love sharing. People don't understand how much I've seen, how long I've been around, and how many kids I've watched grow up, and how many I love. Okay, this is the coolest thing about Santa. I get to hold you when you're just babies. And then when you get older, you come in, you see me, you sit on my lap. And then you get old enough where you're just too embarrassed to be seen with me. And maybe you'll just stand behind me to have your picture taken because you don't want to sit on my lap. And then you get older and you find out that, hey, it's okay to sit on Santa's lap again. And then you get older and you get married and you have kids of your own. And you bring them to me. And I get to hold them when they're babies. And they get to sit on my lap when they're younger. And then you get older and you become a grandma or a grandpa. And you get to see your children's children bring their babies to me to sit on my lap. And I get to watch entire families grow up. And that is just spectacular. That is one of the very best things about being Santa Claus, is I get to see you from the time you're just little and until the time you're old. Or I should say elderly. I was told by one of my elves that I wasn't old. I was elderly. So nobody's old, we're just elderly. All right? Let's see, I was going to say something else. Oh. Mrs. Claus is actually older than I am. She's older than me. Yeah. 3 months. But you're older.
But the older we get, the less of a difference that makes.
Well, that's true. When I was little, when I first saw her, boy, I thought, wow, wow. I mean, because like when you're 5.5 and she's 5 3/4, that's a lot of difference. But then when you get to be 20 and, she's just 3 years older than you are, that's not so much. And then you find out that you're 20 years old the same time she's 20 years old, and then it makes no difference at all. You got anything there?
We have Lori that joined us.
Rory?
Lori.
Or Lori?
Lori. Merry Christmas, Lori.
Merry Christmas, sweetheart.
And then Nancy says she likes jelly beans, and then asked, what's your favorite band?
Oh, my favorite band.
Ooh.
I can't say wedding band, right? No. Okay. Wow, there have been so many bands through the years. There was Les Brown and his Band of Renown, and well, they weren't bands, but they were symphonies, and there's the Charlie Daniels Band, and there's, oh wow, so
Foreigners and
Foreigners,
Eagles
and
and
Three Dog Night,
Three Dog Night, and Queen, and I mean, so many bands
Moody
to choose
Blues.
from.
You know, there aren't so many groups that call themselves bands today,
True.
or see themselves as bands.
Yeah, 'cause
I would say one of my favorite singers today is Adele. I like Adele. But as far as bands go, I've had so many bands that I've enjoyed.
but okay, as far as singers, the Pentatonics are a pretty amazing.
Pentatonics they're a band without instruments.
Yeah.
They sing what's called a cappella, which means that you sing without instruments, or you make the sound of an instrument with your voice. But anyway, they're the Pentatonics, pretty cool. Years ago, there were people called crooners. You don't see crooners today, and they had crooners like Andy Williams and Frank Sinatra and Perry Como and
Bing
Dean-
Crosby.
Yeah, Bing Crosby, Dean Martin.
And they would sing with big bands.
Yeah, they would sing with big bands.
Big bands.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Of course, then
but-
you've got marching bands too. I mean, we like
Oh,
music. Can you tell?
one of my favorite bands of all time was the Illinois University, the Fighting Illini, marching band back in 1950, 51, somewhere around there. They had a marching routine this time of year where they made a picture of Santa Claus go across the field one way, and then they became a sled with one reindeer went across the other way. That was kind of cool. So, yeah, that was a good marching band.
But we have quite a few kids saying that they have sang Jingle Bells to someone or to themselves, so there's going to be a lot of gold stars going
Yes,
out.
there
Hang
will
on a
be.
second, let me check something here. Give me a report on how many gold stars with crossed candy canes have been awarded.
That's a lot. Sounds
Yeah.
wow. Maybe we should do this more often.
132 gold stars with cross candy canes have been awarded and pasted on names in the good book by the elves up at the North Pole.
Wonderful. Nicely
That's
done,
that's so
children.
great. That's perfect.
Amanda has joined us.
Hello, Amanda.
Merry
And
Christmas.
Carter has joined us. He is 12.
Hey,
Hi, Carter.
Merry Christmas.
He asked, are you allergic to peanut butter?
No, I am not. Thank you for asking about that. We try to have parents make sure that they let me know if any of you kids are allergic to peanuts, because some of some of you ask for cookies or treats for Christmas, and Mrs. Claus makes some really excellent nut bars, but we can't give those to kids that are allergic to peanuts, so we give different ones. But that's an important thing to know. But no, I am not allergic to peanuts, and I'm not lactose intolerant. There's a movie where the actor says that he's lactose intolerant when he's Santa, but no, I can drink milk.
That's all that's come in right now.
Okay, let's see. Oh, how many of you know the name of my extra reindeer? The reindeer that I would use if, like, Blitzen got sick. I have a reindeer that, other than Rudolph, that if, like, Blitzen got sick or Prancer got sick, I would still have a full team of 8 reindeer. Does anybody know his name?
He's my second favorite, other than Petunia.
Okay, his name is Harold. Harold the reindeer, and he's kind of a trickster, and he's kind of he likes to make fun. Because have you ever heard the song that goes, "Hark the herald angels sing"? Okay, he says that song is about him singing. Not that that's what the song sings about, but it says it's like, "Hark, that's me singing." So, but no, it's Harold and Harold are 2 different things. But yeah, he's my spare reindeer. Oh, I forgot to ask. Does anybody have an elf on the shelf named Frank? It's important I get in touch with him. He hasn't called in today. So if your elf on the shelf is named Frank, please let me know. We have a message for him. Okay? How many of you can see the darker line down my beard? Can you see that? And do you know what that is? Okay, we'll give it just a little bit of time so that we can give you a chance to answer. Any guesses?
Not yet.
Okay. It has to do with chimneys. Okay? So, just to let you know that it's a rather important mark for me. Okay? So it has to do with magic. Anyway, okay, here goes. That line tells me which side of my nose I push for up the chimney and which side goes down the chimney. Because even though I push one side of my nose and up the chimney I rose, the other side is to help me get down the chimney. And when I'm out, it'll go from one side to the other. So if I get confused because I'm tired and I say, okay, up, I got to go up the chimney, my beard will go like this, and I can look, or excuse me, it goes like this for up the chimney, and I can go, okay, this side, because I carry a little mirror with me. And sometimes I can see it, but not often. But it tells me which side to press. Because, man, I'll tell you something. After you've been up all day, flying all around the world, you can get confused real easy about going up and down chimneys. And I mean, I can remember one time I was pushing my nose to go down the chimney, and I just kept going higher and higher, and pretty soon I thought, this isn't working. Oh, looked down at my beard, and I had to push the other side. So that's what that mark is for. Most people don't even see it. You have to be a good little boy or girl to see it.
Carter thought it might have been just soot.
Just soot?
That's actually how it started out. That's actually pretty good, Carter. When I was dressed all in fur, the fur was so crunchy, I would have to kind of ease down to get out of the chimney, and I'd rub my chin a lot. And Mrs. Claus decided that would be a good mark for me, or something for me to pay attention to, because one side was for down, one side was for up, and to be able to see that. Well, through the years, because she always colored it in for me just before I left, because chimneys got cleaner, it just, changed that color and started growing out. It's kind of cool. It's the way fates take care of me.
Niedermeyer and Caitlin have joined us.
Niedermeyer?
Mm-hmm. And Caitlin, Merry
Caitlin.
Christmas.
Niedermeyer, where do you come from? That's a very interesting name. Yeah. That's my up and down chimney mark. All right. We're running out of time. Let's see.
Do you have any questions that you want to ask Santa?
I would ask me how old I am. I am over 1,600 years old. Some people say 1,300. But the reality of it is, I'm over 1,600 years old. And the reason being is there was a time compression back then. And so some areas they say 1,300, some areas say 1,600. But I've quit counting birthdays, and I just tell people I'm elderly. Has Niedermeyer answered?
Not where they're from, but he did say that he's 8 and his brother is 7.
Oh, those are good ages. Have you sung Jingle Bells? You know, to get your gold star with cross candy canes. All right, we talked about this earlier. I want to talk about it again because some of you weren't on before. I would like you to do something for me if you feel like it. You don't have to do it, okay? You don't have to do anything. But for me, if you would do this tomorrow night after 6 or at 6 o'clock, go outside, ring a bell, Jingle Bells or a cowbell or any type of bell you have. It doesn't have to be a bell. Some kids ask me, could it be a whistle? Yes, it can be a whistle, but don't blow that real loud. But just something to get people's attention. And when you've done that, and if you ring a bell, it doesn't have to be for a long time. It can be just kind of like jingle, jingle, jingle. Okay? Wait for a little bit, just a couple seconds, and then sing a Christmas song at 6 o'clock. And that way you can help me spread joy and cheer everywhere to as many people as possible, because this year, I mean, things have been hard. I mean, I know a lot of you are scared about COVID. I know a lot of you, your mommies and daddies, have had a hard time because of what's going on. And maybe, just maybe, we can bring a little extra cheer and a little extra joy this year at Christmas, okay? So if you can do that tomorrow, Christmas Eve, at 6 o'clock. You don't have to stop dinner if you're eating dinner at 6. You don't have to stop dinner at 6. But it would just be nice if everybody could go out and sing a Christmas song, one that you like, all of it or just part of it, to help spread the joy, okay? So, anything else?
Carter asked, why do you wear red and white?
Okay, that's a good question. Back in the 40s, there was a campaign by a company called Coca-Cola. And they wanted a picture of me drinking Coca-Cola. Well, it's very hard to get a picture of me. And back then, because I didn't have one suit, I had fur suits, I had blue suits, I had green suits, I had one that was red, white, and blue.
An all-white one.
I had an all-white one. Had a number of all-white ones. They decided that because in the story about Santa Claus, about me, I had a round little belly that shook like a bowl full of jelly. They wanted Santa to be a little bit chunky, with a white beard and white hair, even though my beard really isn't white. And they wanted the outfit to look nice. So they decided on red and white, okay, with buttons. If you take a look at the pictures back then, my suit had buttons on it. So I had a red pointy hat in the pictures with a puffball on the end, white trim, red coat, buttons. I had white gloves on, and some of them I had green gloves on, a wide belt, red pants, and boots. Mrs. Claus saw that and liked the image so much, she started making me suits out of red and white. And she switched over from fur to wool, because that way, wool, the animal doesn't have to die, be killed to make, and wool is very warm. So she started making me wool coats and pants that were made out of sheep wool and dyed red. And I got white fur on the inside of my hat, on the inside of my boots to keep my head and my feet warm, and that's where my suit became red and white. Later on, because having buttons, and especially in really cold, windy places, the wind would kind of scoop in there. She put a strip of white fur down the front, and that kind of covers the places where the air can come in. And on some of my suits, I have a white collar that stops the wind from getting down my neck. So that's. I hope that answered where I got my red and white suit from.
Autumn has joined us, and Sean has joined us.
Merry Christmas, Autumn and Sean.
And Niedermeyer had said he likes to sing Up on the Rooftop.
Oh,
wonderful
yeah.
song.
Up on the rooftop, reindeer fall.
Out jumps you.
Good old Santa. Yeah. Out jumps me. But anyway, yeah, that's a fun song too.
And he said his brother wants a skateboard, and if possible, next year if you could send a special elf, if there's one available.
I will.
Oh.
If there's one available, I'll get one to you. I do need to cover one thing. Beauregard Zachary Smith. Beauregard, I cannot send you a dinosaur. For one thing, dinosaurs aren't around it. Well, there are. There's some crocodiles that have lived since the dinosaur age, and turtles, snapping turtles and stuff. But the type of dinosaur you want, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, they're not around anymore. And besides that, they're too big to fit in the sleigh. And the last thing, they have a tendency to eat people. So I can't give you a T-Rex. I can give you a model of a T-Rex. I can give you a doll of a T-Rex. I can give you a decal of a T-Rex. But no, you can't have a real T-Rex for Christmas, okay? Sorry, I know you've been good, but that's not something I can give you.
And I don't think you'd really want one if you got one.
Yeah, Beauregard, I gotta be honest with you. They're not like the cartoon dinosaurs that you see. They're kind of bitey.
Real fight.
That's all we have for now.
Okay. How much time do we have left?
We have about 7 minutes.
Oh wow, we gotta get going.
Any last minute questions for Santa?
Okay. You've all heard the song Frosty the Snowman, right? Who can tell me what type of nose Frosty had? His eyes were made of coal, but what was his nose made out of? And I'll give you a clue. It's not a carrot. Frosty's very proud of his nose.
Oh, Niedermeyer said that you were so pretty, Mrs. Claus.
Oh, Niedermeyer, you're very sweet.
Okay.
We had a guess of a corncob pipe, but
Corncob pipe was stuck in his mouth. Okay. His nose was a button. Okay. If you sing the song, you'll see that his eyes were made of coal and his nose was a button. He had a button nose and two eyes made out of coal. Frosty the Snowman. Yeah.
A corncob pipe, a button nose, and
two eyes made out of coal. So, pretty close on the corncob pipe.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not really sure who put the first carrot in the snowman's nose, but it looks pretty good, actually.
might have been a reindeer.
Oh, it could have been a reindeer. Reindeer do like Yeah, they do like carrots. They also, it's strange, they like acorn squashes too.
I have to say I do enjoy the Frozen movies where Olaf's
Has his nose.
reindeer keeps trying to eat Olaf's nose.
And he gets, short when he gets put in, it's a cute little nose. Oh, it's better. And at the end when he has his own little flurry, I like that. That's kind of cool. Any last minute questions, children?
We did have good guesses of button.
Awesome.
Good.
Good job.
And AJ said that he hopes you have a good trip tomorrow and ho, ho, ho.
Oh, yes.
Oh, AJ, bless your heart.
Do you know where the ho 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 comes from? I used to like to laugh, and I just was like everybody else going, ha 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 ha. And I saw a little girl, and she would be all dressed up in all of her cold weather stuff, and she was rolling downhill. This is before Christmas. I was just going out. I was out and about looking for good little boys and girls, and she would roll down the hill, and I started out looking at her, and then it was and she went down, and by the time she was done, she looked like a little snow angel because she had snow all over her. And I went from ho 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 or hee 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 ha 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 to, well, let me do how it really happened, okay? And that ho 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 made me feel so good. That's the way I laugh now. So, yeah, every once in a while you'll hear me go hee 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 or but the ho 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 is still the best laugh.
Nina had said he wishes you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you too. All of you kids, the same wish from the very bottom of my heart. Have a very Merry Christmas. Have a happy, happy New Year, and know that I care and I love you. And even if I'm not out and about, even if you don't see me, I'm there. And I will make this promise to you, for all of you young kids, because sometimes you've seen me and you don't know who I am, but that's okay, because one day you will understand that you've not only met me, but talked to me a number of times, and you will know how I was able to tell if you were naughty or nice all year long. The magic will become known to you, and you will know that you and I have talked a number of times, and that I've watched over you, okay? And that I've loved you, and that I've cared for you, and that seeing you happy is one of the things that make me the happiest in the world, okay? So that's a promise. That's a promise. You will understand one day how many times you and I have met. Okay?
Any last minute messages from our
Shariah has just joined us,
Merry Christmas, Shariah.
and Carter said that they love you and they send love and light to all.
Oh.
Love, light,
Love,
and peace
light,
to you too.
And joy.
Lots of joy.
Yes.
Okay? And just to let you know, I just got a ding here, and I think I know what it is.
Is
Yep.
it Beauregard? Is he on?
Beauregard got just a gold star because he agreed that he wasn't going to demand a Tyrannosaurus
Okay,
Rex.
good.
I just got a ding from the North Pole. All of you kids that sang Jingle Bells, you got your gold star and cross candy canes. For those of you that came in too late, all the elves will wait until even after we're off the air. If you kids sing Jingle Bells to somebody you love, or to yourself, just by yourself, whether it's just Jingle Bells, or the whole song, you'll get a gold star with cross candy canes next to your name on the list up at the North Pole. And we don't even have to be online anymore talking to you, okay? The elves will listen for it, and you'll get the marks. And not only will they go towards this year's good list, naughty and nice list, but they'll go transfer over to next year, so you start out with 15 good points. Okay, everybody out there that got a gold star with crossed candy canes, you have 15 good points for next year automatically, okay? So,
All right, lots of wishes of Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
okay. And
Very Merry Christmas.
And I think, we're about out of time.
are we? I hate to say it, kids, but it's time to say Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Bye now. Love you lots.